everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm super excited today because I'm going to introduce to you a new flour for low carb baking. Now I know all this while almond and coconut flour has been a staple for low carb baking. If you have been following my channel, you have noticed that I'm a strong advocate for coconut flour, and some of you have even written to me to show your appreciation for that, so thank you for that. Now, while almond flour is great for baking, but there are a lot of concerns about its high oxalate content, which may cause some medical issues. So that's why I have been using coconut flour whenever possible. Now, coconut flour is great in terms of its lower cost, health benefits, and also low net carb. But because I'm trying to give you more options, I actually came out with black and white sesame flour some time ago. So you can see the videos here on black and white sesame buns, and more recently the bread as well. And more recently I've actually introduced walnut meal, which is actually another great low carb baking flour. So I've come up with videos here which you can see. I've used walnut meal to make buns, to make the loaf bread, crackers, as well as cakes, and they are great. Now today I'm going to introduce hazelnut meal, which is another healthy low carb baking option. I'm happy to report that both walnuts and hazelnut meals, they make the best keto bread. Frankly speaking, I think they outbeat almond flour in terms of their lighter and fluffier texture. Now, hazelnuts have a sweet and nutty flavor with a crunchy texture, and overall hazelnuts offer healthy fats, fiber, protein, essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants as well. It is also quite low in carbs, and each serving of this hazelnut bread in this recipe is only about 1.6 gram net carb. The only thing is that hazelnut meal or flour is not so easily available, but we can grind it ourselves. All we need is a seed grinder or coffee bean grinder, and better still a multi-grinder. Now, unlike walnut, which has a high fat content and requires some coconut flour to grind together so that it helps to absorb the excess fats, hazelnut is a little easier to grind because it has less fat content. But on the other hand, hazelnut is a lot harder in texture. So, but it's still possible to grind. It's just that we need a more powerful grinder. After grinding, there may still be chunks left there, but it's absolutely fine because the chunks add some great texture to the bread. Now, some of you have asked where I got my multi-grinder from. I actually bought it online through Lazada Malaysia, but I think you can easily get it on any online or even electrical shops, you know. It is actually one of the best thing I ever bought because it's so affordable, and in the long run I actually save more money because it's cheaper to buy the whole nuts or seeds and grind it myself. I also use it to grind my psyllium husk. Now I want to take this opportunity to address the common failures that some of you may have experienced with keto bread. Just the regular keto bread, not the yeast bread. Okay, so we're talking about non-yeast bread. I believe that there are three possible causes, and number one is baking powder. Now I'm aware now that in the US, double acting baking powder is a norm, but most of us outside the US are using single acting baking powder. So if you're using double acting baking powder, you need to reduce the amount by half. Otherwise the bread will rise rapidly, and then it will collapse, and the inside will be uncooked. So this is based on all the feedbacks that I have gathered. Now, number two, psyllium husk. For baking, it is actually better to use psyllium husk. Then we grind it ourselves into half its original volume, and that's good enough to absorb the water effectively. Now, you can also grind this in bulk and then just store it in container and then refrigerate it. That would be very convenient, so you can use it anytime. Now, I also understand that some of you use pre-ground psyllium powder, which is super fine and more concentrated. So you need to reduce to 2 or 3 teaspoons with the same amount of water. Otherwise, the bread will be very wet and dense. And you know, these are based on the feedbacks that I received. So thank you to those who have tried it and they let me know that they end up using very little of the powder. Otherwise, it won't work, right? Now, number 3 is coconut flour. Now, if you're using coconut flour for making breads or even desserts, cakes and all, based on feedbacks, I understand that in some countries, the coconut flour comes in a form that is very coarse, much like desiccated coconut. So that is why it's unable to absorb the liquid properly. So in this case, you need to grind it further until it becomes a powdery texture. Alright, now I hope all these explanations will help you to understand and be more successful in your baking experiences. Okay, now there are also some requests for using pecans for low carb flour. Yes, it's the most lowest in carbs and healthy too, but pecans is quite expensive, so that's why I'm a bit hesitant to use it. But if you guys want me to experiment on pecans and you're interested, just leave a comment for me and I'll look into it. Alright, now let's head to my kitchen and I will show you how to make this keto hazelnut bread easily with just a few ingredients.